Hey folks, Brendan from Bluelight here, and today I'd like to speak to the serving officers among you. Those of you in particular who've got promotion boards coming up, especially for PC to Sergeant, and often that's the first hurdle. Once you've got over that one, all the boards become a little bit easier, or do they? If you're a potential recruit, you might find this of interest as well. And in case any of you are wondering, who is this guy? I've coached and supported well over 10,000 people, both into the police and once they're in the police, through to their specialist interviews and promotion boards over the past 25 years. In the main, though, in the past decade, since I retired from the police. So the other day, as in the Enforce Advancement Group, this is a group of serving police officers who meet on a weekly basis where we run a workshop, 2 hours where we just practice these sort of interview questions. And this is one that cropped up for a client who's working towards the PC to Sergeant promotion board for the Police Service of Northern Ireland. And one of the questions they're expecting is, how will you drive up or increase professional standards? Now, what emerged in the first attempt was just this big wish list. And it really was. It was like, I'm going to challenge those who don't maintain uniform standards. No emblems are allowed. I'm going to remind officers to report things. I'm going to challenge people. I'm going to question them. I'm going to look at complaints and arrange further training, do regular appraisals, do integrity assessments. I'm going to dip sample body worn video. I'm going to do spot checks of vehicles. I'm going to make sure everyone's got the correct PPE. It's just a big wish list. It didn't actually say how they were going to do it. It didn't actually answer the question. It just described what they were going to do. And so we debriefed this, and what we did then was we looked at our method of working towards forward-facing questions like these, where we talk about, first of all, why professional standards are so important, and then we look at how we'd go about addressing them. And as opposed to coming up with a wish list, what we do is we actually create the scenario. So in this case, we created 2 scenarios. One of them was around something that you just do. So it didn't need much in the way of persuasion or cajoling, because if it was as easy as, I want you all to maintain these standards and adhere to them at all times, and people did that, then you wouldn't actually need lots of bosses, would you? You'd just need someone at the top who says, do these things, and then everyone would do them. But the world's not as simple as that. But there are some things like uniform standards and things like emblems and the inappropriate use of emblems, which just require a sort of, this is a standard, this is the example I'm setting, you know what the standard is, please comply with it, because you also understand the reasons behind it. And we did also look at what you would do for someone who was actually deliberately testing the uniform standards, in particular around the inappropriate use of an emblem. And that went off at a slight tangent, but all part of answering this question, because you look at actually doing some form of intervention with that individual to ensure that you understood the reasons why they were doing that, because there's always a reason why someone decides to do something to test the system. Normally means they're unhappy, and we need to get to the root of that unhappiness. So the other scenario we created was around a standard which often drops and often falls, apparently, and this is around stop and search. And this is an issue right across England and Wales as well, I believe in Scotland too. So, you know, I'm not just singling out PSNI here, I'm singling out all the forces in the United Kingdom that utilise stop and search. And we created a scenario here as well where individuals weren't complying with certain requirements of the stop and search procedure, and as such weren't demonstrating the required professional standards. And so we discussed in great depth how we'd go about doing that, what our aim would be, what options we'd consider, how we would deliver those options, what the result would be. And at the very end of it, we can talk about the what. What will this actually result in? And when you actually end your answer with that, what this will actually result in, then you've got something which is awesome as an answer, which is going to absolutely blow away the other candidates in terms of your performance versus theirs. Forget the wish list approach. A structured approach using the why, how and what approach, and where the how part is full of incredible detail. All right, folks, there you go. 5 minutes, 5-minute nugget of learning. I shall catch up with you another time. If you want to find out more about how to join the Inforce Advancement Group, then there's a link below to join the open and free groups for those who are hoping to join the police. Then there's a link below to that Facebook group and a link below to the Serving Officers Cadre, which is another free to join group. The Inforce Advancement Group, it's just £4.99 a month. That's all it is, and you get access to all of that learning, short courses, and access to a two-week workshop. That'd be something, wouldn't it? A 2-hour workshop every week where you can practice interview questions in a safe environment. And for those of you who are part of the Inforce Advancement Group, if you've not watched this video that I'm talking about, this session I'm talking about, there's a recording of it available for you in the group. It's the one, I think it was 3rd of July. And if you're watching this outside of 2021, it was in 2021. All right, folks, catch you with your next one. Bye-bye for now.